Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I am going to make a recipe that comes from the antebellum of the Civil War in the United States. This is called chicken and dumplings. Anybody my age probably remembers their grandmother making this recipe. And my grandmother was the daughter of the generation that went through it, so therefore this is their recipe, and we are going to honor them today by having this recipe. Now, I am going to change it a bit because I have stock. I'm going to be adding things to it, but the original recipe is you just cut a chicken up, okay? I am going to be cracking bones because I want to get to the bone marrow, which has iron and folic acid in it, and I want to make sure the joints are cooked thoroughly because that's where the gristle is, that's where your trace minerals are. If you have arthritis and stuff, that's what your body needs. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So this is going to be cut a little different than you would expect it to be cut. I think I'm going to cut these wings again in one more spot. So you're going to hear a lot of banging. If it gets too loud, I'll pause the video. You see, I'm going to break them up in smaller pieces. I'm sure they used wild onion and wild garlic because the antebellum things were getting hot and food and stuff was becoming scarce. So I'm sure they did that. This recipe basically uses, the original is just basically just salt and pepper in it. And I'm sure they served cornbread with it, which would have been a treat. But I know this, I don't know if there's anybody in the north that knows of this recipe, but I do know in the south because it's very common. I grew up in the south, so. So I'm very well aware of this recipe. I remember my grandmother giving it to my mother. And believe it or not, there is a history to food. As much as the war history, they teach you the war. But there's also a cooking history. Recipes have changed throughout the years. And it's interesting when you start trying these recipes. I've had one that I wasn't overly fond of, but it had sweet, sour, and bland put together. But how it was put together, the way they had it then, well, you'd have to have a taste for it, let's say. It wasn't the greatest. But I do try them, just like when I told you about Monya Mary, how she sat there and had to create a match during the Great Depression. That became history as well. How women survived then. So, just a little history. Let's see. I don't want this much fat on this one. And I'm also going to take the gizzards of this chicken. I'm going to boil them down, and I am going to put them in a mincemeat pie. Mincemeat was actually created to preserve the organs. When they killed the animals, the liver and stuff was hard to preserve. The heart, the liver, kidneys, stomach. So they ended up using this meat in mincemeat pie. So I am going to take it and I'm going to boil it down, mince it up very nice, use the mincemeat that I made, and chop it up and put, I think, peach brandy, a tablespoon of peach brandy in it, and I'm going to make all this pie. Let's see how it comes out. Yeah, I know I'm not cutting this like you would expect it to be cut. That's because I'm going to cut it up in a lot of pieces. So so I'm not concerned in the regular size that we usually cut for fried chicken. So I want to make sure these pieces are small enough we can get into these bones and get what we need. That's why you're saying, you're not cutting it the normal way. No, I'm not. Because I'm actually going to cut smaller pieces. We're going to boil this down with salt and pepper, and then we'll make dumplings to go in it. Should be big enough right about there. This off, so hold on a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, I got my pot out. I'm going to be rinsing the pieces off, throw them in here. See how small the pieces are? And because I cracked these, I'm going to get all that iron and folic acid out of there. It'll be in the stock, or the broth, gravy, whatever you want to call it. Because it is basically like a stew, but it's such a simple, let's just call it chicken and dumplings. Yeah, what can I say? I'm going to fill this half full with water. And then I'll be adding some salt and pepper and onion to it. I'm not using wild onions or garlic. But I'm sure that's what they had to do before war just broke out completely. Let me throw some of this out. Okay, now I am going to add, I need to dry my hands so I can do this. I'm going to add, because I made stock, I'm not going to use a chicken or a beef or a lamb stock. I am going to use a vegetable stock. It will be like having a lot of vegetables in here. I'm going to pour a whole quart in. Okay. Now we'll add some salt and pepper, definitely. I think that's all they were using as seasonings for a while during that time frame. They even had that. My hands are wet, so I'm going to need a spoon. Okay. And we'll get this on to start boiling back here while I get the pepper going. And the onion and some garlic. So they would use water, but I'm using some stock because I want to bring the flavor up and the nutritional value up to it. So let's get the black pepper going. You don't have to chop it fine. It can be chunky. This is probably all the vegetables they had. And that is just pretty much to get that going, the main part of it. So we're gonna put the lid. And you add 1 bay leaf into it as well. And we will boil this until the chicken is tender. And we'll get to the dumplings later. Okay, we're ready to make the dumplings now. We need 2 cups of an all-purpose flour in a bowl. And into this, we're going to add some wheat germ, and we're adding powdered milk. I'm going to make it more nutritious than the meal is, because I want 1/4 of a cup of powdered milk. And I think I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of wheat germ to bring this value up. Alright, now we have to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Yes, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we'll add 1 teaspoon of black pepper. added a teaspoon of peppercorns here, so I'm going to crush them up. And then we're going to add some shortening to it. You know what? I'm going to have to cut the shortening in, so I'll get my pastry cutter. Now they want us to add in 3 tablespoons of shortening. And it has to be shortening, or lard, I think you could use, because I think they used lard at that time. So we're changing it just a bit. We're using shortening instead of lard. But if you have lard and want to do it that way, you can. I don't know if they used wheat flour when they created it, the Civil War, or if they had mills and they could still get white flour. You know, my grandmother used all-purpose flour. I remember she used to put a lot of pepper in her dumplings. All right, and we need 1/2 cup. They say water. They want 1/2 cup of water added into this. I'm questioning, could I use milk in place of it? I'm going to try using milk in place of it. I just don't like the idea of adding water to it. Because I want to make it more nutritious than what it is. Now these should not be light. They should be chewy. If I remember correctly. Like I said, it's been a long time. I remember my grandmother working it, as well as my mother getting the rolling pin out and rolling out. They were chewy. They're not the kind that float up on the top. This is actually going to go into it. I think I do need a little more. Because you're going to use a rolling pin and roll these out and cut them out. Now it's coming together. Because I remember hers was very, very chewy. It's been a long time since I've made this or had this. And she always had peppers in hers. I'll be back when I finish rolling this out. This is work. Okay, I got it as far as I'm going with it. Okay. Now everybody makes their dumplings a little different. No right way, no wrong way, just how do you want your dumplings? My grandmother used white, short ones. And she made hers pretty much like this. See? She wasn't out to do it any other way. I'll be throwing them in a bit. I don't think my mother knew this dish until Grandma showed her how. I can't remember how long they're gonna cook. I'm just gonna have to cook until I think they're done. There's just some things I just forget and I have to wing it, trying to remember. Okay. I have to bring this to a full boil. What you just start doing is dropping them in there and let them cook. They have to cook. When they're done, I'll show you. We are cooking the dumplings 15 minutes, okay, at a royal boil. When they're done cooking, I will adjust for the salt again. Okay, it's been 15 minutes for the noodles, and now I'm gonna have to taste it for salt. And it's ready to eat. If the salt's done, that's it. But I'm gonna serve mine with a salad. That is good. It's been a long time. Sometimes I don't get to recipes as soon as I want, so I have to wait. And it's been a while since I made this one. But that's how you make chicken and dumplings, and adding it more nutritionally than what they did, because they would just basically just fill a pot, cut the chicken at the joints, boil it with salt and pepper, a bay leaf, and that is pretty much it. Then when that's done, they would make this recipe, the dough, which is, I think I said 2 cups of flour. I don't know if they used whole wheat or just all-purpose flour. I have no idea. Half a teaspoon of salt, 2 shortening, and I'm having to remember, and a half a cup of water. But instead, I added 2 tablespoons of wheat germ, and I added 1/4 of a cup of powdered milk. And I used milk in place of the water to make it more nutritious all the way around. And I added black pepper into my dumplings because that's how my grandmother did. But that's the simple recipe of chicken and dumplings. And the history of it as well. So take care and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.